Hey, welcome to Film Fanatics. My name is Dan.
My name is Justin.
And I'm Joe.
This week, Matt Damon returns as Jason Bourne. Dave Franco and Emma Roberts show they have nerve. Mila Kunis heads up a group of bad moms, and we look at Woody Allen's latest period piece. First up, though, is Jason Bourne. That's going to be with me. It was in my top 5 most anticipated for the year, so let's see if it raises above what we've had so far for our picks. This is the 5th installment and the 4th starring Matt Damon of the popular Bourne franchise. The title character is on the run again from CIA hit squads as he tries to uncover hidden truths about his past and who he is, again. Julia Stiles returns as former CIA operative Nikki Parsons, and Tommy Lee Jones and Alicia Vikander join the series as CAI heads, and Paul Greengrass returns to direct this installment.
And don't forget Evil Ballerina Instructor Man.
Yes, Thomas is in it as well.
As a Cassell,
from Black Swan. Also working as evil
Agent guy.
Evil. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what his
Bourne's
tie is to the CIA,
arch enemy, whatever.
He's
Evil Bourne.
Yeah,
there you go.
Trying to get Bourne. I know that. So I enjoyed the Jeremy Renner edition. I think we all kind of did. But it is nice to see Damon again in the role. But this movie literally adds nothing. It's fine, if a little boring, but it reminds me of a bunch of recent dark CIA-themed movies we've seen: Run All Night, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. It's all kind of the same. It's all very dark. There's chases. And Bourne doesn't have the cool gadgets like Bond or Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt character in Mission Impossible.
Or Keither's Rage.
True.
Where's the bomb?
True. But the character's mystery and the great action sequences is supposed to be enough to get by. Usually it is. This one fell kind of flat for me. The one thing I'm sure Justin will harp on, as he does always, is the Greengrass shaky cam. Joe knew where I was going.
Yep.
And usually it doesn't really bother me, but it's terrible in this. The first motorcycle chase sequence is horrible to follow what's happening, and then the big chase at the end in Vegas, same deal. So yeah, it was okay, but it added nothing. What did you guys think? Justin, I guess let's start with you.
Are we sure about this?
Well, see, and here's the problem. If you're the boy who cried shaky cam, then when there's an actually, horrible shaky cam...
You better go for it.
You're just, ringing the bell again, and it's no, this is way worse than a lot of other things.
It was pretty constant.
I know,
yeah,
I know.
Yeah, so, all right, well...
We're getting to that.
That plus everything else. Let's hear about it.
I will happily accept that title, by the way.
I'm sure.
It's been 9 years since we last saw Jason. And I feel like both he and the audience themselves deserve better. Now, I'll give them points for having a topical storyline, but here's the thing that really bothers me. Jason Bourne has been an anti-hero, but he's never gone the Mad Max route. They talk about, a big thing that they were advertising with this movie is, he only has 25 lines. And they space that out fairly well.
He only has 25 lines in this
movie? He didn't talk much,
yeah. No, he only, according to Matt Damon, he only has 25 lines in this movie.
All right.
But that just is not Jason Bourne, according to this franchise. He's never been this antisocial guy, and by 3, he kind of had a solid grasp on who he was. Why is he reverting again? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Alongside that, I am, quote, the boy who cried shaky cam, but here it's... I'm just going to say it. It's by far Greengrass's worst editing effort I have ever seen.
Even scenes where they're walking down a hallway, though.
They're still shaking.
Just standing.
There's no reason to do that. Put a tripod on.
Weird angles, too.
By far my favorite, though, is they're in Vegas, and for some reason... Greengrass is doing the shaky cam, but for some strange reason, lingering on a guy's crotch for at least 5 seconds.
I did notice.
I have no idea why this is so important.
Well, he's showcasing his stunt crew. Okay,
maybe it's a metaphor for his entire existence. I don't know, but
maybe symbolism.
I do actually really like the action choreography in the Bourne franchise. It's actually one thing that's been really consistent, and I think is something that actually has given life to the franchise, even when I think it isn't always gelling. And the acting for the most part is fine.
Julia Stiles was bad.
She was also something else. can't talk
Which
about
brings
it.
me to another point. They try to bring in emotional impact in terms of like how far we've come, and without giving spoilers, something happens less than a third of the way into the movie. I felt nothing. But for me, it's just another case of I was hoping for greatness for the summer, and this just wasn't it.
I don't think you were, though, because you've been harping on that name forever. You hate green grass. I wouldn't say... I mean, I know you like the first Bourne movie.
I like 1, I don't like 2. 3 was kind of a return to form. Like, I won't say I hate 3, pardon the double negative.
All right, well, Joe, what do you think of JB?
Well, I'm the weird one. I like Bourne Legacy the best.
That's the Renner.
Yeah.
Listen,
Because it was so different.
the Renner one is actually my second favorite.
I really enjoyed that one a lot because I've never been huge into the Bourne movies. I think that they're decent, but I've never been like diehard fan. I kind of feel like I can lump them in with all the spy movies that I've seen over the years because to me they all kind of blend together because I've seen so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
So for this one, I enjoyed it, I guess. I mean, probably more than you guys, it sounds like. I felt like it wasn't boring to me because it kind of throws you right in the action. Now, I will admit that you are right. It adds nothing new. It's the same as all the other movies.
Yep.
But I think that for the Bourne fans, that's what they want. That's what they'll get.
I guess.
So, I mean,
And that's okay.
So I guess it'll make them happy. I did think the fight choreography was good. There's some brutal scenes. Which
When you can't see it, though.
When you can see it. There are worse culprits, though.
There's always worse culprits.
Well, Taken 3, I think, will be...
Well, if you want to talk about
in
shaky
terms
cam...
of a car chase,
worst offender.
that's by far the worst.
Well, like, okay. This,
not that level.
This had, like, some... The editing and the cinematography was not great here. But, yes, I mean, if you compare it to Taken 3, where they're cutting literally every second for every frame... and
it was such a mess.
Yes, we get it. Liam
There-
Neeson can't run. It's all right.
There's worse. Well, at least it wasn't over-edited. Shaky cam was still kind of bad. But, I don't know. I think there was enough going on. I just was surprised that there really was, like, no story.
At all.
It was like, okay, there's a little bit of motivation, kind of a revenge thing, and he's going to go get the bad guys again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Didn't we cover this literally 3 movies ago?
I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is great, but,
Yeah, he's fine.
He's a good standard CIA villain, like they all are.
Right,
So it's
right.
Like, so, I mean, it's like, I can't say that I felt it was bad, but I feel like it's the same movie again.
I just thought it was
Yep.
flat.
For like the 4th time. And yeah, maybe it's losing some steam because there was less from Matt Damon this time around, less interaction with other characters.
Yeah.
Kind of fails with some emotional impact. I thought it was enjoyable for something to kind of, just sit through. Mm-hmm. But, I've already forgotten some
Well,
of
that's
it.
what was so interesting about the Renner version is that the first almost half of the movie, we're still trying to figure out, along with him, what his deal is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas
It added to the mythology. And
Yeah.
Bourne
found out
already
more
knows
about
by
it.
this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, one thing that really irritated me, the Bourne Legacy is nicer to the mythology than this movie is. This movie basically eradicates any reference to Aaron Cross whatsoever, which is...
Yeah, which
I think it's kind of insulting. to be
Well, I
honest.
didn't like because I had sort of thought that a possible plan was to get the both of them
Together.
in the sixth one.
Team up. Which
There was never just one, you see.
I hope.
Yeah.
I
So
hope.
okay, we've got 2, but right, Justin's right. Like it, I mean, obviously they're
It's a
not
side
going to
story.
make yeah, it's a side story. They're not going to.
But it's a compelling side story.
Did
It is.
refresh my memory?
But,
Did people like the Bourne Legacy or no?
They liked it okay.
Yeah.
But
They-
there was no Bourne in it, so they were like.
But
what?
they're right. There was no Bourne in it, so why are we calling it a Bourne movie?
Well, yeah.
Well, it's
You
called
know.
the Bourne Legacies, which I think justifies it.
I think it makes sense,
I
but a
understand.
lot of people might be
Yeah,
like,
no.
Bourne, etc.
Right.
The Bourne thing.
Yeah.
The Bourne noun.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Yeah, but I think generally people enjoyed it.
Well, look,
It's just not one that's talked about.
the people that I saw this movie with, once again, even though this is the 4th, technically the 5th Bourne movie, the crowd was loving it.
Oh, yeah,
People were
mine
into
too.
it. So I'm like, I take that into account. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily my thing, but they're satisfied. They're happy.
Okay.
And it rubbed off on me a bit. So I was like, this is fine. It's doing nothing new.
Right.
But there's nothing terribly wrong with it from my perspective.
Okay. Well, I am going to leave this with a C.
C.
Shaky cam really brought it down a bit.
B minus.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What?
B for me.
Okay. This was the only one I haven't given a positive grade to.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, up next is Nerve, and that is with Justin.
Emma Roberts plays V. A shy, aspiring photographer in high school living in the shadow of her best friend Sydney, played by Emily Mead, who longs for attention by playing Nerve, a social media game wherein participants perform outrageous stunts for money and popularity. However, when V is dared into playing Nerve as well, friendships are tested and dark secrets about the game are revealed, particularly regarding V's in-game partner, Ian, played by Dave Franco. Juliette Lewis and Kimiko Glenn from Orange is the New Black have supporting roles. I feel like this is yet another YA adaptation that probably could have been smarter than it is, and it's just more of the same. In a world where we're pretty much dominated by things like Pokemon Go, I mean, it's hard to say that the constant filming angle isn't topical, but the way
it couldn't have come out at a better time.
Truly. But I feel like the movie itself is incredibly stop and start. The stunts themselves are actually really engaging and tension-filled. I mean, they actually do a fantastic job of making you feel like you're along for the ride. The problem is all the stuff in between where they try to talk about how there's this giant conspiracy. It just gets more and more plot hole ridden, and eventually falling into hacker as Deus Ex Machina, which brings it down to a whole new level of weird. It's also sort of falling into that same camp as, Men, Women, and Children. It's trying to say a lot about social media, but I'm not sure if it has the firmest grasp on it that it likes to think that it does. It's a lot of chaos, and goodness knows it's in your face enough, but there's a point where it just becomes irritating instead of thrilling, and I think that's where this one sort of fell off the bandwagon. But I'm curious to see where you guys stood on it.
Well, the fact that it's a YA adaptation explains a few things.
I don't know what you mean.
All the teen, melodrama and stuff. It was like, okay, well, that explains the market for it. I guess on one hand, I would say that I kind of liked the commentary that it was trying to go for. I think that with social media's impact on our lives, we get like 5 movies a year at least, trying to do something interesting with it, which some are cool, some are not. But I think because social media is growing, movies about it don't have quite the firmest grasp on it yet, at least for clear messages. But there's a lot that can be said. Here, I think that there definitely are some smart ideas. I think that, actually, as I was watching, it kind of reminded me of some of the controversies with like YouTube pranks. Some of them go too far. And that's kind of a big thing. And getting the views versus how dangerous it really could be.
Right.
I thought that was kind of interesting. So it definitely is relevant. But I also thought that it was kind of pandering and silly and just not that interesting overall. As what it is, it just like it felt so. I just wasn't invested that much. I mean, I guess that the characters were okay. They had some chemistry. The acting was all right, but I don't know. I couldn't really get into this one. I guess because I'm not the right demographic for it. I'm not sure.
Could be.
But I liked the concepts. I just thought that overall it wasn't that interesting of a viewing experience.
Okay. Well, I sort of liken this to a Purge. It's got an idea with a lot of promise that just maybe wasn't executed the best.
Probably.
First of all, there's plot holes aplenty in this movie.
Truly, yeah.
The aspect of time is toyed with constantly, as is the meter of Robert's character's instant popularity to complete obscurity in a matter of hours and back and forth. Some of the world's most inept cops.
Legendary.
Oh, yeah, without question.
And I'm not sure anyone involved with this movie knows how a ladder works.
Nope.
That scene really bothered me. But that being said, like I said, I do like the concept a lot. I think it's interesting. Roberts and Franco are fun together. Even if the film beats us over the head with the commentary about social media, something like this could happen. I get it, it's, like I said, maybe not executed the best, but, I mean, I wasn't bored with it. It definitely falls apart by the end when they're really tacking on the conspiracy sort of stuff.
That was unnecessary.
It was a bit unnecessary.
It goes way off the deep end.
I think if they narrowed down the story between the two of them and kept it a little more grounded, it would have been contained, but there's just too many...
What about Juliette Lewis? God, what happened?
Yeah, that...
Well,
Speaking of irritating B stories, but...
Well, she just, she was concerned, but not like overly concerned.
Not really.
Like, she called the friend, the little boy that likes her, that likes Emma Roberts, and she's like, oh, what's happening to V? Like, where's my daughter? And he's like, well, I can't tell you, but she's safe. Okay, well, thanks.
Said no parent ever.
And then she calls back like an hour later, like, hey, just checking it. Like, you're not frantic, you're not calling the police, like, you're not... Because she's seeing these videos...
And not
that are being put up,
You'd think
that she's like, whatever, riding a motorcycle blindfolded down the street, like...
Oh, no big deal, I guess.
She's a very passive mom.
That is a type of parenting, if I'm not mistaken.
It is, which we'll get into in our next film. There's all types of parents and bad moms.
Good transition.
But, we can probably talk about bad moms now. There's not much more to say about Nerve.
Why not? Yeah.
I leave Nerve with a C+.
And I'm right with you, C+.
It's a C for me.
Okay. So, we do have bad moms, and that's going to be with Joe.
All right, well, Bad Moms definitely has more parenting and different perspectives on parenting.
True.
Now, it basically follows these 3 overworked and underappreciated mothers who are pushed beyond their limits by just, the life of being mothers. And they decide to ditch their responsibilities for a lot of self-indulgence and shenanigans and all kinds of partying. 3 moms are the comedically experienced actors. We've got Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Kathryn Hahn. Now, of the 3, which one was the best?
Well, I think that's a pretty easy one.
Okay, who is it, Dan?
Kathryn Hahn.
Of course, I love Kathryn.
Yeah.
She's great. Though I didn't know her name until we started doing this show.
Well, she's popped up a lot more in the last 3 years, too. I mean, we've reviewed at least 5 or 6 of her movies.
But I feel like I've definitely felt her presence before. But, she's popping up. I'm glad she actually got, like, a major starring role in this one. And she's had a couple more lately. Now, this movie is probably what you'd expect with lots of raunchy humor. And there are a lot of types of films like this. I admit I was kind of seeming to know what I was expecting going in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an R-rated comedy from the Hangover people.
So you just
so you expect.
You know what you're getting into. Mm-hmm. Now, what made it work for me and was a bit surprising was how it kind of showed the idea of being a mom with some respect as well as playing it for laughs, which really, really honestly surprised me. I thought that was done pretty well. It discusses the conventions of the difficulty of being a parent and what's required of being a mom, so to speak. The actresses are good. There was pretty good comedic timing. I thought they all had great chemistry. I thought they were really enjoyable. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did, so it was a bit of a surprise for me. I'm curious to see what you guys think about it.
I actually didn't care for it.
Really?
Yeah. I think Han is one of the only good things about this movie. She's actually even dialed down a little bit, I feel like for the tempo they were sort of looking for. I don't think anybody else can keep up with her even remotely.
No.
So she dialed it back a little bit. In some of these other movies we've seen her with, I think she's paired a little more with more seasoned comedic improvisational actors and actresses. You've got your Jason Batemans, Paul Rudd, people like that. Mila Kunis is fine. I do like her. But when it comes to, like, rich belly laughs, other than that 70s show, which, I mean, she started in her teens.
Yeah.
There just isn't that much there for her. She gets a couple of laughs here and there. And Kristen Bell is okay. But I agree they do have chemistry, all 3 of them. So
I think they're all like
them that.
I could get behind
Definitely.
them.
But the problem I had with the movie, other than I didn't really find it that funny, is that the moms all fall into these painful stereotypes. The men are all clueless. It's like a Tyler Perry movie where it's like the one white guy is like really out of it, and all the black people are great. Bad Moms is like all the moms are overworked and tired, and that's certainly true. But it sort of doesn't give the best name to fathers.
Hey, I think that they were kind of focusing on the moms.
They were.
I think it was all good fun. I don't think it was meant to be offensive. Personally, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
But I think because it was written by 2 guys, I don't think the women had enough depth to any of the characters. I feel like if it was written by, like, the Bridesmaids people, people in Bridesmaids, you haven't seen it, Joe, of course, but...
I still haven't. I'm still waiting.
But, the people in that, even mothers with 5 or 6 lines, you get a good sense of their character. The mean moms in this movie, which was Christina Applegate and Jada Pinkett, are just so unfunny and villainous and mean-spirited and
like some people can be.
I know, but like it was But you can also be funny, like Regina George in actual Mean Girls.
Oh.
You know, there's a way to go about it. Here we're just spiteful and horrible and bullying the coach and kicking the kid off the team. I laughed about it a dozen times or so at mostly Han stuff. And, you know, with what you were saying about Bourne, the audience that it's intended for will eat it up.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But I really, for an R-rated comedy, I didn't like it.
Huh, okay.
All right, well, I guess my turn now. This one I actually was a little bit surprised with. I gotta say, I thought it took a little while to get going, but once we started heading into the whole trio getting together and experiencing all this, I thought they had instant chemistry, and I think it played off really well. For me, I actually really liked Kristen Bell, though I'd probably say Catherine Hahn got the biggest laugh of the movie for me. Though said joke did involve Kristen Bell, and to put it politely, I can't say it on the podcast what exactly happens, but it's glorious.
Dan didn't think so.
Nah, I didn't care for it.
But no, I think the humor flows fairly nicely. Not every joke is a solid punch, but when it's there, it hits hard. But I think it also carries a good message, trying to really hit home the fact that parents aren't perfect, and that's something that I think really does speak volumes, as well as also throwing in a little bit of satire about the many problems in public education. Admittedly, it's over the top and pretty much hyperbolic, but
Agreed.
there's definitely some substance there, and I'd rather have it than not have it. But I'm actually with you, Dan. I think one of the weakest aspects about this movie is the villain. Christina Applegate, very funny.
I love her. I mean, you know, we all know how much I love Christina Applegate.
You do.
This just wasn't the role for her.
It really wasn't. And then they try to do a twist with her character in like the last 5-10 minutes. And
On a dime, too.
Exactly.
I didn't believe that for a second.
No, not even remotely. And then comes...
Yeah.
And then comes the ending, which is...
Whatever. I was like, whatever about it.
Which honestly, I felt like after this fun journey, it just kind of fizzles out. So I feel like I left satisfied, but I was kind of hoping it would have a bit more, be one of the more pleasant surprises of the summer.
I just think there were other more realistic maybe ways that you could have gotten the parents aren't perfect message across.
Absolutely.
You know, I agree the themes of the message are okay, but I don't know. I felt like the commentary was a little bit on the goofy / forced angle. But Joe, you loved it.
Yeah, it worked for me. I wouldn't say I loved it, but yeah, it was good. I was surprised
over there.
Yeah, no, I'm singing praises. It was at least laughing. No, I mean, it wasn't the most hilarious movie ever, but I guess I liked the spirit of it. I liked the chemistry. I felt it was a pleasant watch.
Okay.
And I thought there were some good laughs, but yeah, as a comedy, not the strongest, but overall I thought it worked okay.
Catherine Hahn was great.
She was always great. Like I said, she's really
is.
underrated. She was underrated for me for a long time.
Great pep talk, too.
Yeah, good pep talk.
I mean, it's no Bridesmaids, but...
No.
Well,
Well, apparently
things are.
nothing can equal it. This mysterious Bridesmaids movie that is name dropped, and I just never know.
Watch it.
Seriously.
Can't until you run it
So
someday.
great.
Somehow.
All right, well,
For Bridesmaids October.
Romantic comedy
whatever.
month now.
yeah. Bridesmaids October.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of alliterative.
I mean, September's basically nothing month,
day
so...
we could do. But
Probably curious about my grade.
yeah, well, I guess my grade's first, so
Yeah.
I'll say it.
It wasn't that bad, Dan.
No, it wasn't that bad, but I will admit that I'm raising my grade slightly because of how the demographic audience will enjoy it.
That's what I try to
People
look
were
at.
clapping, you know, in my theater.
Wow.
You know, Mom and Scrooge went to see this and loved it. I really didn't care for it, but I'll leave it with a C-.
Okay.
I live with B-.
B.
And finally, we have Cafe Society. Woody Allen's annual film this time takes place in the 1930s and sees New Yorker Bobby, played by Jesse Eisenberg, moving to Hollywood to get in the business and gets a job running errands for his Uncle Phil, a bigwig talent agent played by Steve Carell. Phil introduces Bobby to his secretary Veronica, played by Kristen Stewart, and the two fall in love. However, Veronica is also having an affair with the married Uncle Phil, and when Bobby finds out, he returns to New York and meets another girl named Veronica, this time played by Blake Lively, and the rest of the story takes place there as he runs a hip New York club with his mobster brothers. I almost said monster brothers.
Uh-oh.
Now, Joe missed out on this one, as he tends to do with the Woody Allen movies, so Justin and I will talk about this one. As you can tell from the synopsis, there's a lot going on in the movie.
Absolutely.
And though it's never boring, at least I didn't find it boring, Cafe Society is very messy. The plots don't dovetail as nicely as Allen thinks that they do, and though, as usual, the female performances under Allen's hand are strong, that's why they win awards, but Carell's phoning it in. Eisenberg is doing little other than an Allen in the 70s impression.
About right.
I mean, he's basically...
It's really obvious.
Well, he's doing the Eisenberg, but then he adds in, like, a couple of, like, like...
Cynical,
like like the sort of nebbish kind of thing that Allen's known for.
Right.
In between every third sentence. And then on top of that, there's so many characters that some you might really like. For me, it was Bobby's one aunt and uncle who had a neighbor problem. Only appear in a few scenes.
Right.
So, this definitely is a step up from some of his recent work.
Rational Man.
Maybe, definitely better than last year's selection, which was Rational Man. But maybe not up to par with some of the more recent acclaimed work. Blue Jasmine was okay.
Midnight in Paris.
Midnight in Paris. I was thinking of the other one with Emma Stone.
Oh, Magic in the Moonlight.
Magic in the Moonlight was pretty good. So, I mean, I can't say I disliked it, but I also had a lot of problems with it.
No, I'm with you with a lot of this one, because it's sort of frustrating, because I don't really think it's bad, but it's just not well constructed.
Mm-hmm.
It feels sort of... I came out of it feeling sort of the same way I felt about Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. It's not that it's a bad movie, it's just... It feels more like a very talented director running out of things to say, so we're just sort of recycling elements from other movies and cramming them into one new one.
And we've talked about this on the show before, he gives himself this, I have to do a movie every year, and it's like, if the movie's not ready yet...
Take your time, it's cool.
You can take another 4 months and polish the script up, edit it better, whatever you have to do.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Dan, because that was one thing that really, really bothered me. I think this could have been really, really good, except it just sort of goes through the motions. We get the B story with
the mobsters,
with the mobsters, but then we also get the...
Yeah, there's a couple B stories.
Yeah, that's another big issue. Some of them matter, many of them don't.
And you have what's-her-face playing her, like, the married couple that he, like, befriends.
Yep.
That are back in New York, Parker Posey.
Yeah, which
that's like,
they only sort of...
Who was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to see her, but they didn't really do anything.
Give them something to do, yeah.
I mean, I guess they introduced him to Blake Lively, but, I mean, anybody could have done that.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's about it for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bummer, because I was really intrigued by them when they showed up originally.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that really bothered me was it starts out, and I got this same vibe from the trailer that it was going to be like this sort of commentary about Hollywood. I was actually hoping it was going to be the movie Hail Caesar wasn't.
I was actually thinking of Hail Caesar towards the beginning, because I didn't see the trailer, so I didn't know how long they spent in Hollywood.
Right.
But yeah, for the first like third of the movie they're in Hollywood, and I thought, okay, well, this is certainly better than Hail Caesar so far.
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we shift out of Hollywood, and it's nowhere near as pertinent anymore, which kind of bothered me as well.
It's more standard Allen.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, we have to have New York as the backdrop. If that's
typical.
Typical Allen. I can't really blame him for that.
Although the last few, he's veered from that.
Yeah. It's either...
Midnight in Paris certainly wasn't.
No.
True Rome with Love certainly wasn't.
No. It's either New York or some European
exotic,
location.
Yeah. True.
But, I mean, he composes his shots well. It's fairly well directed. It's not... I don't think he'll be taking home any awards for it, but it's...
Yeah, this would anger me if somebody got nominated for this movie.
Absolutely. But for me, it's an okay addition. I wish he had spent a little bit more time on it, but I can at least, for the most part, accept it. As far as acting goes, I don't think anyone really did a bad job. I'll give you the fact that Steve Carell was definitely phoning it in.
It just wasn't... It just seemed like Michael Scott set in the 1930s.
I couldn't agree more. Oh my gosh, I could not agree more. The only acting aspect that I thought was really, really bad was Alan's completely...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the voiceover.
Yeah, his ridiculously bad and pointless narration.
Yeah, awful. I agree.
And what's worse is they they cut it out for like half of Act 2, and then they bring it back. And it's
Yeah.
like, I did not
Well,
miss
he's
this
got to give
whatsoever.
us more exposition towards the end.
Thank you. I didn't think it was possible to keep up with this movie, but I appreciate it, Alan.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was really terrible.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to insert himself every time.
Not quite. Not quite.
Many times he doesn't, and the movies are, lately anyway, the better for it.
Absolutely.
You know.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, all right, well, I leave Cafe Society with a B-.
And I'm right with you. B-.
Okay. Yeah, good but not great for the Allen canon.
Definitely.
All right, well, that will do it for this week's show. We have a ton of stuff up to check out, including the Star Trek weekly reviews and a DC-themed Suicide Squad episode. And, Joe, you've got a solo Suicide Squad review up as well, one of your in-cars. And, yeah, a bunch of other stuff as well.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so, well, that will do it for us. You can subscribe to our podcast here. Check us out on Facebook at Film Fanatics with an exclamation point, and the Twitter feed at Film Fanatics Pod. And thanks so much for listening. We'll see you back here next time.